Welcome back to List of, the channel where we take the vast, chaotic mess of human history and organize it into neat numbered points so we can all feel slightly better about ourselves. Today, we're looking at a recurring theme in the human story, the I told you so. You know the feeling. You tell your friend the milk smells funny, they drink it anyway, and 3 hours later they're rethinking every life choice they've ever made. Now, imagine that, but instead of a stomachache, it involves falling empires, exploding spaceships, and volcanic eruptions. Here is our list of historical warnings that were ignored until it was too late. 1. The Pompeii earthquake premonition. Most people think Vesuvius just woke up on the wrong side of the bed in 79 AD and decided to delete Pompeii, but the volcano actually gave everyone a 17-year heads up. In 62 AD, a massive earthquake flattened parts of the city, statues fell, temples cracked, and the local sheep probably looked very concerned. To the Romans, this was a clear warning from the gods, but instead of thinking, hey, maybe we shouldn't live at the foot of a giant mountain that occasionally shakes the ground, they thought, great opportunity for some remodeling. They spent the next 17 years rebuilding the city with even fancier marble and more elaborate mosaics. They were so busy picking out tile patterns that when the mountain started smoking and the ground started shaking again in 79 AD, the general consensus was, oh, this again. Just keep polishing the fountain, Marcus. It'll pass. Spoiler, it did not pass. 2. The fall of Constantinople's rejected superweapon in 1453. The Byzantine Empire was essentially a city-state with a very grand history and a very empty wallet. A Hungarian engineer named Orban approached Emperor Constantine XI with a pitch. He could build a cannon so large it could shatter the legendary Theodosian walls. Constantine looked at the price tag, looked at his empty treasury, and basically told Orban, "We'll keep your resume on file." Orban, being a freelance engineer with no particular loyalty to the concept of Christendom, walked across the lines to the Ottoman Sultan, Mehmed II. Mehmed didn't just pay him. He gave him a bonus. A few months later, that same cannon, the basilic, was busy turning the impenetrable walls of Constantinople into a very expensive pile of gravel. Pro tip for world leaders. If someone offers you a weapon of mass destruction, at least make sure they don't sell it to the guy currently parked on your lawn. 3. The Spanish Armada versus the Weather Channel. In 1588, King Philip II of Spain decided he was going to invade England. He had the invincible Armada, 130 ships, thousands of men, and a lot of confidence. However, his most experienced admiral, the Marquis of Santa Cruz, warned him that the fleet wasn't ready. Then, when Santa Cruz died of stress, his replacement, the Duke of Medina Sidonia, literally begged the king not to send him, claiming he had no sea experience and got seasick just looking at a bathtub. Philip ignored him. Then, his weather intelligence warned him that the North Sea in late summer is essentially a giant blender. Philip's response, God is on our side, the weather will behave. The weather did not behave. Between the English fire ships and a series of Protestant winds that smashed the fleet into the rocks of Ireland, Philip learned a hard lesson. God might be on your side, but the Atlantic Ocean is a neutral party with a preference for chaos. 4. The Pearl Harbor radar reports. On the morning of December 7, 1941, two privates, Joseph Lockwood and George Elliott, were manning a brand new radar station at Opana Point in Hawaii. At 7:02 a.m., their screen lit up like a Christmas tree. It was the largest blip they'd ever seen, over 130 planes heading straight for them. They called the information center. The man on the other end was Lieutenant Kermit Tyler. He'd been told a flight of American B-17s was coming in from the mainland around that time. So, he uttered the four most expensive words in military history. Don't worry about it. The privates went back to their breakfast. The B-17s weren't actually there yet, and the rest is a history book chapter that everyone wishes we could rewrite. 5. The Chernobyl low-power objections. In April 1986, the night shift at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant was tasked with a safety test. The irony here is thick enough to block radiation. The engineers on duty, including Leonid Topchunov and Alexander Akimov, looked at the reactor status and realized it was far too unstable to perform the test. They literally argued with their supervisor, Anatoly Dyatlov, telling him the reactor was poisoned and the power was too low. Dyatlov, a man whose management style can best be described as aggressively stubborn, threatened to fire them if they didn't proceed. He ignored the computer printouts, the flashing alarms, and the basic laws of physics. When you're in a room full of people screaming that the nuclear reactor is about to explode, because I said so is generally considered a poor rebuttal. 6. The Challenger O-ring memos. On January 28, 1986, the Space Shuttle Challenger sat on the launch pad in record-breaking cold. Back at Morton Thiokol, the company that built the rocket boosters, engineer Roger Boystoli was having a panic attack. He had spent months writing memos warning that the rubber O-rings, the seals that kept the fire inside the rocket, wouldn't work in freezing temperatures. He even stayed up the night before the launch, arguing with NASA officials. One NASA manager famously asked, "When do you want me to launch? Next April?" Another told the engineers to take off their engineering hats and put on their management hats. If there is one thing history tells us, it's that physics doesn't care about your management hat. The O-rings failed exactly where Boystoli said they would, 73 seconds into the flight. 7. COVID-19's early distant thunder. In late December 2019, Dr. Li Wenliang in Wuhan sent a message to a private group of fellow doctors. He noticed 7 cases of a virus that looked a lot like SARS. He wasn't trying to start a revolution, he was just telling his friends to wear protective gear. Instead of being thanked, he was visited by local authorities, told to stop making false comments, and forced to sign a confession for severely disturbing social order. The warning was treated as a PR problem rather than a public health problem. By the time the rest of the world realized the warning was real, the social order wasn't just disturbed, it was quarantined. History is full of people standing on a beach, pointing at a giant wave, and being told by a guy in a suit that it's actually just a very tall ripple. Whether it's ego, budget cuts, or just plain old-fashioned, "it can't happen to me"ism, we have a spectacular talent for ignoring the obvious. So, the next time your car makes a weird clicking noise, or your IT guy tells you to back up your hard drive, or a Hungarian engineer offers you a massive cannon, maybe listen. If you enjoyed this list of avoidable disasters, make sure to hit that like button. Consider it a warning to the YouTube algorithm that we're making good content. Don't forget to subscribe to List Of and hit the bell icon so you never miss an upload. What's a warning you ignored that came back to haunt you? Let us know in the comments. We promise we won't say, "I told you so." Thanks for watching.